going to share my screen here. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So just going to go over a little bit of in cruises here. Just to kind of bring some of the questions that I keep seeing in the chat, and I think a lot of us coaches keep seeing the same questions. So maybe this way we can help you, make you feel more comfortable, and to check some things out. So I just thought today we'd go over a little bit of introduction for in cruises, have you onboarded, staying plugged in once you're on board, a little bit about landers, coaches and coaching calls, and Trisha and Instagram. So the introduction is, who are in cruises? It's the world's largest invitation-only membership travel club. And I think we're so fortunate that we have it so we can make travel more accessible to everybody. It's more affordable and it's even profitable. And that's the big thing that a lot of us are looking for, is a little bit of passive income worldwide. So have you registered? If you haven't, why not? And this is one thing that you should really look at, is simply register by clicking the Join Now button. If you haven't registered yet, share this with your downline, because in cruises makes their training really, really simple. So we can follow it through and we get a couple videos. It gives us a little bit of idea what in cruises is about. Their back office is very, very customer friendly. So be aware that in cruises allows you to go through their website. I'm just going to go on here to answer a few of your questions. So if you ever want to get back to your back screen here, the little cheat sheet is just clicking on your little orange in cruises here, and it'll take you back to your cheat sheet. When you go through your info center, there's lots of different things where you can do a full overview of the website. Gives you a lot of interesting things. I'm just going to put this on here. Just going to change my profile, make it a little bit blurry here. I'm going to turn on the demo mode. So I'll start with documents, which is under resources. And this kind of answers a lot of your questions that we find in the FLOT group. A lot of thing is different contracts, reread the contracts. There's lots of presentations you can use here for your ads. There's the presentation that I use to help people come on board is right here. It's a simple company presentation under Keynote. I just read through it. Makes people feel comfortable, and then we always have questions after. So you can always use that with your team, also for yourself, just to learn and feel more comfortable with everything here. Lots of different advertisings, lots of answering your questions. So that is under documents, resources, documents, and your referral links. So I just
Renee,
yeah.
I just have a quick question. So I know that you were saying that you read that presentation. Do you also use the slides that are in there at the same time, like the Zoom slides or something that's in the back office?
Yes, so I do use those slides, and I make a little presentation out of the exact slides that are in there. I change nothing.
And you just read from that presentation script, basically.
Correct. And I just, that way it's able that I don't miss anything. So I don't forget. Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
So under your referral link.
I have one question too, sorry. Could you repeat which is the presentation you're referring to?
Sure. I'll just go back into resources and documents so you have it. So I just used this one, the simple company presentation under Keynote.
Okay, got you, thanks.
Yes, and under Keynote, it works really well. So under referral links, a lot of people are wondering what they should send their friends. Myself, and it's totally up to you, it's your business. For myself, I like this one, the first link under referrals, because it gives everyone a little bit of everything. So people can join now. I do send a little note with whatever when I send this, it's just to let people know that they can join now for free, just to get an idea of what In Cruises is. And they will always have an invite by myself or yourself, whoever you send the invite to. If you use the second one, and it may work best for some, it is an actual sign up page. So again, they're just joining now and then they receive the video. So it's totally whatever works best for you. And there's a lot of different ones here. So one is for, the third one is for members. Membership.
Renee, I had a question just in regards to that second one where they're filling out their information. There's no payment that has to be made then. They're actually just signing into to get information.
Correct. So either one, when they sign up, so either link, the first one or their second one, they can join now. And joining now is for free. It gives them an idea of the back office. So when they go, they will be able to see this. They won't be able to make a link or anything because they have not paid yet. But what they will be able to do is, we will go into here, they'll be able to do a little bit of the training just to get an idea. They'll be able to read some of the documents just to give them a good feeling.
Right.
Then
And I guess the beauty of that also is that they're linked to us forever within the In Cruises.
correct, because to be able to go on here, they have to be invited.
Thank you.
Renee, also, do
Renee,
you know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Trisha.
I was just curious. I don't know this because when I signed up, I went directly to the link and signed up. So I'm just curious, when somebody goes on and joins, do they get more information on the cruises, the hotel packages, everything like that when they just register versus not registering?
They will get as far as I know, from the people that have registered and told me, they get a little bit of everything. So they get to look at the hotels, they get to look at some of the cruises to know what cruise lines are available.
Perfect. Okay, that was what I was hoping, but I wasn't entirely sure.
And they do get to see some of the compensation plan too, Trish.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, and I was just going to say too, just to clarify for people, these people that you're talking about that you're sending to are people who are already in either your In Cruises or your Enagic funnel, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just so people know.
Yes. These people are already in my funnel. Yes. Then we don't have to worry about cross promoting or poaching, sorry. The other thing.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
As you mentioned, being in the funnel. So if it is, I've just started in Enagic, so I'm still going to the training. So I haven't had a funnel as yet. But I mean, I'm thinking of probably doing a meeting where I can invite persons in on the In Cruises. Is that a possibility? Based on what you're saying, you know, it's the most persons that you've sent a link to are persons who are already in your funnel. But for me, who I don't have a funnel as yet, but I mean, I can invite my family through, you know, meetings, etc. I can invite them to In Cruises. Is that a possibility, or should I wait?
I'm just gonna, this is Sarah, I'm just gonna pipe in here for a second. So from a council perspective, and Nikisha, you're not gonna know a lot about that right now, but we have rules of, you know, if someone's already in the dream team as a buyer, you wouldn't go and give them your In Cruise link because that buyer is owned by a different distributor who brought them into the dream team originally. Now, there was a case that I just handled in the council where the buyer was refunded. And now, as regular people in the dream team, you're not going to be privy to that information. Me on the council, I am, because I investigate cases of people being not so honest. So this case, the distributor signed up a refunded buyer in the dream team and they were allowed to keep them. So it would be, to my understanding, that refunded buyers at some point are going to be potentially released. I'd be really, really careful with this. If they're in the Facebook group, I would stay away from them. Just because that could be seen as you going and being an opportunist and putting your net in a pond that really doesn't belong to you. But if Joe Blow across the street from you signs up to In Cruises under you, and then later we find out that at one time he was a dream team buyer who refunded, you should be okay. So what I would say is, don't be scared to go after everybody unless you know they're in the dream team Facebook group. Consider those people off limits. But if you happen to sign somebody up and later find out that they're no longer in the dream team Facebook group and they were a buyer at one time but refunded, you should be able to keep them. So don't be scared to go after people, just don't cast your net in that Facebook group.
Thanks, Sarah. That's great.
Understood. Mhm.
So also in the back office, they also have business cards. If you choose that you want to use them, they're really easy to use. You can put in your name, you can download, it will download the front and the back, and you can send them to print. I sent mine to Vista Print and they turned out perfect. So that's just something else that you can use. The training is one of the best. And this is the nice part about joining, just to take a peek for everyone. And any of you that are here in Enagic and you haven't at least gone to this part and joined, you definitely should, because you really don't know what you're missing. So how can you make a decision if you haven't taken a good look? So here's the basic training. You'll be able to do this before you actually pay and register. So they're quick little videos. They're 2 to 6 minutes and a couple of questions that are done a couple of times so we remember them. Then you can move on to the Leadership Academy. Now, I think at this point, you won't be able to do the Leadership Academy for training until you've actually decided if you're going to join as a member or a partner member. I have a couple questions here. For the wallet, I just want to go through this with people because I do see it a lot. When you first register, everyone has 14 days to refund. So even though you want to set up your wallet, it'll take you 14 days to be allowed to set it up. But once you set it up, it's set up. And I have used myself, I've used two, I've used Hyperwallet and QuickPay, and absolutely no difficulty and very quick to transfer. Does anybody else, any coaches have anything to add to that? Or
I can add something to it. I just want to make a note. When I set up my Pay Quicker account, I think I forgot to change the currency for the bank to Canadian. So it was like in virtual land somewhere, and it took probably 2 weeks for it to come back. And they basically just said, that's not a US bank. So I just had to go back and switch it. So just make sure if you're in Canada, make sure you put Canada. If you're in the US currency.
Yeah, the other thing that I would just add while we're talking about pay, and maybe Renee has this in her presentation, but there's definitely value in mentioning it more than once, is the automatic monthly payment for In Cruise. I mean, hopefully you're not doing that for too long. If you're following this, you got to hurry up and get your 5 so it's free, you know, free $2,400 in travel a year. But you want to make sure that you're going and adding a credit card so that those payments come out. There are a number of people who have paid for their first month and are not signed up. And I'm going to reach out to the coaches with a list, but best practice is go in and make sure you have that credit card paid up, set up. I don't know if Renee could just quickly take you to that screen so that everybody can see it. You cannot add a payment method until 2 weeks.
okay, well,
It's the reoccurring billing. She has her Visa on there. Of course, she's not going to be charged because she has more than 5 under her, but should say 5 people drop off and she has to make a payment, she's not watching that aspect of her business as closely, at least she's not going to lapse. So it's just important to do that, especially with the initial investment. You'd hate to lose it if you forget to make that payment. And I think they give you about 3 months grace, but but still, you might as well just get on it.
Thanks, Sarah. And one thing I just want to bring up, I had it on my list here, is after my first month, I had signed up my 5 people, so I shouldn't have had to pay. And all of a sudden I got an invoice and I'm like, oh, great. Now I got an invoice. Why? But if you click on your invoice and you read it, as it says right here, is yes, it's free, but they still show you the invoice. So not to panic. When you get your 5, it will be free. So I just want to.
Renee, there was a quick question on regards to the payment, the wallet, which method had the credit card attached to it within wallets?
The Hyper wallet had a credit card, and the Pay Quicker.
I believe all of them have credit cards.
Oh, excellent.
So myself, I did the Hyper wallet, and I also did the quick pay because I have a US account in Canada. So I'll see how that goes, Trisha. Thank you. We'll see how that goes. I want to show you just a quick thing here about sending an invitation to people. Some people have seen this, some people have not. When you go under contacts and inviter and you want to send someone an invitation, just so you know what you're sending. So the nice thing is here, you can pick the different languages. Once there's 250 people registered for a certain language, they are adding it, so it'll be easier, but there's lots of languages here to choose from. I'm just going to show you here, because I always thought a personal invite was very personal to yourself. But when you look at this as an example and you're sending it to someone, it's just a text, and that's great, but just be aware of what the personal invite shows. If you choose to do it as a professional invite, it looks professional. So it says you've been invited by whom, their link, a little bit of information about cruises, a video, all the contact information. So it's much more professional. So just so you can see there that there's a couple different ways to use. Okay, I'm just looking at my notes here.
Renee, can I just add something? This is Matt.
Perfect.
You were talking about getting people to join, like when you had the join button, which link you were using, whether it's join or sending them the video. The reason people want them in their funnel, in their in-cruises funnel, is they'll also get emails. And then you'll see if there's somebody that's not a partner. And Mike did this on one of the webinars, actually on the mastermind this past Wednesday, that if you have someone that hasn't paid to be a member partner, you can actually run a report and you can send them a blast email saying, hey, you haven't taken the next step. So having their email address inside of InCruises is very valuable for you to stay in touch with them. InCruises also made a note on one of the conference calls, and they said that if you have someone in your funnel, the odds of them converting to be a member or a member partner amplifies by 80%. So you want to get their email address into the InCruises system tied to your user or your link, so that down the road they may get an email and they may just convert, and that's gravy and low-hanging fruit for you.
Hey, thank you. Moving everything out of the way here so you guys can see.
Matt, can I ask you a question there? Can you hear me?
Yep.
So with regards to that funnel, oh, for goodness sake, I've forgotten my question now. It'll come back to me. Hang on, you've got to save that thought.
So back to the presentation. So staying plugged. Sorry,
it's Tammy. I just have a quick question. So I have sent a few copy links through Messenger to my personal friends. So now I know not to do that, that it's better to do the professional invite, correct? Then those emails are in the information, the back office, you say, right?
right. But you can do it either way, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. I've made up a letter and I send that to people. There's a couple different ways. So it's
Okay.
what suits you.
A crafty way to do that, Tammy,
Yeah.
is you need to have implied consent. Like you couldn't just go into your email address.
Oh,
book.
no. This
You
is after a conversation.
Yeah. But what I do if I'm trying to get somebody to is I don't have an in-cruise funnel at this time. I'm just using the regular funnel.
Yeah.
But what I'll say to someone, if I think, oh, wow, I think, they might be interested in checking this out, is I say, hey, I would, and I make sure I say it in writing. So in a Facebook message or a text message, hey, I'd love to send you some information on the business that I'm doing. Can I have your email address? And then if they say yes, that is implied consent. And
Yeah.
you can legally go into the in-cruise back office, enter their name and email and send that to them. Because you have that paper trail
Right.
of consent rather than just sending them the link and putting the onus on them. And this is for every aspect of this business. Instead
Right.
of putting the onus on them to sign up, you've asked them if you can just email them information. If they've said yes, then you can register them to whatever funnel you have. But get it in
Okay.
writing.
Okay.
You don't want a friend of me 6 months later to say this person illegally entered my email
Sure.
address. So, get it in writing just so that you're covering yourself. But I would never send a link to anybody. People will say all day long that they'll do it. Instead, ask them if you can just email them information. That yes is implied consent to register yourself.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I've been doing it the other way, so I'll start doing it that way for sure.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you. So staying
Okay.
plugged in Cruises back office, which we just had a peek at. In Cruises weekly meetings, which I just noticed has a spelling mistake. They have weekly meetings. When you go on their calendar, you'll be able to see when the meeting is. I know for Canada, there's a couple different ones, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. every other week for us. Look under your Facebook In Cruises group, Facebook Teams group, Flock In Cruises. They answer a lot of questions. There's a lot in the files there. And of course, the mastermind. So Tuesday evenings under the fundamentals. There's also, they're recorded, so you can always go back if the time doesn't work for you. There's weekly meetings with all your coaches. And again, an accountability partner. If you have any questions, at least you can kind of throw it out to each other. This is a little bit about the landers, the 2 landers that came out for the In Cruises. There's 2 different ones. One, vacation for less, vacation for free. That one is suggested using for your warm market in the training. The other one, still working 9 to 5, suggests using it for a business market. The funnels have a 7-day follow-up for In Cruises instead of the month for Enagic. So it's $100 that they register with or sign up with. Then it's $395 for your In Cruises link, $495, and then it's $25 for a funnel if they choose to have a funnel. This is just a little bit on coaching calls and coaches. And as coaches, we feel it's our obligation to set people up for success on the coaching calls. I know myself, Enagic is still 95% of my calls, but I will continue to explain other options, especially if people at this time cannot afford Enagic products. Does any other coach have something they want to add to that?
Absolutely.
I have something just to add about with the funnels and just, I guess, a word of warning a little bit. And I did talk to the funnel team and whatever, but so she was an Enagic buyer. So she had paid her $149, did not come in with an Enagic product, came in only with In Cruises. And so she was now getting her In Cruises funnel built. So she only has access to the In Cruises training, picked her funnel. Somehow she picked a Enagic funnel. So I'm not sure how that was able to happen, but anyways, when they fill out the form in the admin system, they have the access to the same ones. But anyway, so she picked it. So now she has an Enagic funnel, but she's In Cruises. So it's talking about this webinar. It has the full 30 days of email. So I said, no, this isn't right. So whatever, we ended up going back and getting it fixed. But just a word of warning, talk to your people before, make sure you're talking to them when they're picking their funnel, because I'm not sure how she was able to see that as an option. I know it would be on the drop down, but in terms of the look of the page, she should have only been able to pick from the In Cruises funnels, but for whatever reason, she wasn't. She did end up with an amazing funnel that's kind of a hybrid now, because we just ended up adjusting it so that it's in cruises only, but it looks like the other one. So just a word of warning, I guess, to people
Yeah,
when they're doing their in cruises only funnel.
I'm really aware of that. I'm on the new product, a chat of about 20 people, and they're very aware of all of these things and still ironing things out. They're actually even still testing opt-in pages and stuff like that, because we want to make sure that something's converting highly. And right now we're still in the beginning phases, right? So it's a bit of a learning curve. I'm having a little bit of a blonde moment. Renee, what did you say? Ask about the coaches. Oh, so, okay. Coaching calls and in cruises. There has been some feedback from distributors that they do not want to start in cruise, and therefore they don't want their buyers to be told about in cruise. If you could step back and not be that fly flailing yourself against the window and see the bigger picture of things, that's not going to happen, guys. You only own your buyers in the dream team as far as this business is concerned. You know, so for example, if I go out and start an essential oil business tomorrow, and I love essential oils, I've got a ton of them, the buyers that I brought into the dream team, the 1,000 or so, they're not my buyers. Like, they're the dream team's buyers. I mean, they're yours if you're in the dream team and you're working this business. So it is within my right. Let's say Renee's directly under me as an example. And I go to Renee and I say, hey, this in cruise, here's a link, here's a sign up, you should really do this. And she says, no. It is 100% within my right. Once the system request is put in and Renee has passed up on the opportunity for me to go after all of Renee's buyers and give them my link and get them signed up to the business. It is not fair, and it is very short-sighted to say that because you don't want to do something, your buyers don't need to do it. Which is why if you are working this business and you're advertising within demographics where they make a lot of money, but also some demographics where currency wise and whatever, they don't make a lot of money, that it is in your best interest to be a part of in cruises. I mean, we can call it what it is. We can call it Sarah wants more people under her, or we can call it we want to help you build wealth. I believe it's the other one, and I believe that sincerely from the bottom of my heart. So we're not going to force you to join in cruises, but you're not going to hold your buyers hostage because you don't understand that offering more than one revenue stream and diversity to all socioeconomical financial statuses is the right thing to do. We're not going to kick the dead horse if you should sign up and all the incentives, and Mike and Darren have an incentive right now. I put it in my flock chat. But you're not going to hold your buyers hostage. They're going to have an opportunity to sign up. So I would suggest to those of you who have 5 or 10 or more buyers who could not afford to start with a NAGIC to consider in cruise as an option, because they are going to be offered this. And I'm going to start doing second coaching calls to all of the people who I'm the coach to, not necessarily the mentor to, and I'm going to be offering this. Luckily, all my directs are signed up, so they're going to benefit from that. But just to clear the air, as far as owning your buyers, you don't. The dream team owns buyers.
Can I just add something to that, Sarah?
Absolutely. And I probably should just step back. I'm very
No. So I agree with the whole short side or someone's business. Well, like if you take a look at the dream team, I think it was last Friday, there was a go live that took place with Jorge from Cruises, Darren and Mike. So your buyers who are in the dream team are going to see that anyway. So to kind of dig your heels in and say, oh, I don't want to do in cruises, so please don't do a coaching call and talk about in cruises, they're going to see it anyway. So it kind of defeats the purpose for yourself and sort of becomes kind of a challenge. So embrace it from that perspective, whether you join in cruises or not. I've got some people on my team that can't afford in cruises, but they see this as a way for their buyers to get in so that they can afford a NAGIC. So there's different ways that people are looking at it. but don't feel as though you've got to put a brick wall up, as Sarah's saying. It's not serving you any purpose to put that brick wall up and sort of put your head in the sand and say, oh, this isn't going to work, or I don't want to be part of this. People are going to see it in other places. And I've had some calls with buyers this week going, what is this in cruises thing? Because I'm seeing a lot of people signing up in the dream team, or I'm seeing people have success, or they're travel free. So from that perspective, you just want to embrace it from that perspective, and more of a, I guess, just go with that flow. And, you know, it's obviously a great opportunity, but I think that's mainly the thing I was going to say with regards to that. I agree with you, Sarah.
Yeah, I agree too. And I was just going to say, because it's now in the pre-coaching videos, so they're going to be seeing everything coming, you know, as they get the pre-coaching videos. So my calls are 95% Enagic. I've always touched on coaching a little bit, PSA a little bit, send out cards a little bit, and then now in cruises. So I think it's our job as coaches to be able to relay all this information to them. So we don't want to really hold it back. And just, you know, for those people who decide not to join, but their buyers want to, I mean, they're still Enagic buyers. They're still your Enagic buyers. So once they decide to come in, they will be yours going forward, but we can't really hold them back from the in-cruise part of it.
Yeah, and I just want to, you know, like end with this, like, we're not telling anybody that they have to be a part of in-cruises, but the hard line is drawn with your buyers are not your buyers to the extent that you get to stop them from joining it just because you don't want to. And you cannot want to for one of 10 valid reasons, and that's your journey. What I would plant a seed with is none of you signed up to this business because you wanted a water machine. Maybe 2 people in my downline of over 700. Okay, because I've had a few people quit the business. And so if you're not a cruiser, or you're not a vacationer, or you're someone who doesn't believe in vaccines, and the cruises still mandate vaccines, again, that is a very short-sighted way to look at this. It is a wealth building opportunity. And because of the lower buy-in, now we have opened up the door so much wider, so many more people and so many more countries that otherwise would have missed out on building wealth. And I'm advertising down in places like the Caribbean right now, and I'm gaining a ton of business partners because these people are so smart. They see an opportunity and they hop on it. And I love that so much. So like, it's not the elite anymore. It's not the first world North American countries that can build wealth. Everyone deserves to build wealth. And so don't join if you don't want to join, but you're not holding up your buyers. And hopefully one day you see this through my eyes. Because if you did, you'd be all over this like crazy, because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. Both of these companies are just wow.
Can I just
even if they didn't join initially, even if you don't join initially, if you do then have a buyer that's coming in, you still have the opportunity. Your coach is going to let you know they're wanting to come in within cruises. You can take the opportunity then too.
But yeah, I just wanted to also make it clear that all the coaches are going to go through everything, because our main job, I feel, is to get people set up for success. So we're not going to skip and choose what we share. I think we're all going to touch on everything, and Enagic's still 95%. So do we want to move on to Trisha for in-cruises and then come back to all the questions? What would you like, Trish?
Let's just wait 1 second. One of my new gals wants to say something, so we're going to let her talk. She's from the Caribbean.
Hi, yes. So I just kind of wanted to just touch in a bit on what Sarah was saying. And for me, I really appreciate the coaching call with Sarah, because for me, if it was just on the Enagic side, I would not have been able to jump in and, you know, really benefit. For us, the currency converter in terms of US dollars to Trinidad dollar is almost 8 Trinidad dollars to 1 US. So in terms of the packaging for Enagic, it's a bit large, and it was a lot for me. So in using both the in-cruises, it allowed me the opportunity to jump in, get into the in-cruises, and an opportunity to start to build and make money, you know, on the get-go, the onset. So I really appreciate that. So I think it's really important that you give persons the option and we don't leave it out and just focus on the magic. Yes, so that's what I wanted to say. And thanks again, Sarah.
I can go over the Instagram and then do the questions after, unless anybody has some burning questions for in-cruises. I know I've seen Nikki talk about the fact that she has a Pay Quicker account that is a US account here in Canada. So yeah, that's probably just fine. If you have a US account in Canada, you'll be able to transfer it. I didn't, so it couldn't figure it out. So yeah, that should be no. So Renee, you should have no problem at all.
Yeah, mine's through the Royal Bank, so it should be fine.
Yeah, I should probably do that. That would make more sense. So I was going to do a little bit on Instagram just for the simple fact that George or Jorge, I don't know how to say his name, built most of his business on Instagram. And I haven't used a whole heck of a lot on Instagram. Like I post nice pictures and sometimes here and there I'll post some stuff about the business. But I think it's a great opportunity for those of us or for people who maybe don't have a large budget, especially for in-cruises, to really focus on Instagram. So I'm no expert in it, but I did find a really interesting article about, getting engagement and the fact that, everybody's influencers are looking for lots of followers, but it's not always the followers that we need to be concentrating on, it's the engagement. So how do we get that engagement from those followers? And so I'm just gonna see, can I share my screen, Renee?
You should be able to. I put you as co-host.
Host disabled participant screen sharing. Oh no, I think Shannon's co-host. Oh, there we go.
I think I did both, but you're now your host.
Now I'm good. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Okay, so this article basically is 14 ways to increase Instagram engagement. So it's not all about in-cruises, but it could help just in terms of like, what should I be posting? How should I be interacting with people? So like I said, everybody's after that following, but they say it's quite outdated. So we should be focusing more on engagement. And so engagement can be the interactions your audience are taking. So it can be likes, it can be comments, saves, shares are really good. So there's a certain hierarchy, they said, in the types of engagement, but overall engagement is what we should be after. So the first one that, this is just like Facebook, post consistently. So I know a lot of the gurus talk about like, you should be posting so many stories and so many reels and so many posts in a day. And that's daunting. And I've never been the one to want to post 3 times a day or 6 stories or whatever. But what they said was most important is that you're, posting at the same time or within the same time frame or scheduling and stick to it so that Instagram kind of gets that algorithm from you, and your followers are, they might be on at the same time. So they're going to be interacting with you more at that time. So inconsistency is actually the worst part of it. So if you just post one day and then 5 days later post something, it's just very inconsistent. Number 2 was obviously, again, this is kind of, it also takes Facebook into account. This is sort of the same thing. So share content your audience will love. So, be absolutely clear on your niche. That's the same thing with our business pages. What are you attracting? What are you trying to attract? This should still come through on Instagram. So create content, that your audience is going to find helpful, interesting, inspiring, or entertaining. If they have no interest in it, they're not going to take the next step to engage. So just be really cautious about what you're posting and experiment with different, types of content, and then attention to it. So again, more testing for us, but this is like Facebook, our business pages are a free site, but so is Instagram, right? So, and Instagram can have a lot of reach. So it's good to test and see what people are interacting with, what they're liking, what they're commenting on, to know what you should continue to post. And then 3, try and create shareable content. So, I mean, this can be different for everybody, but anything that lives on the Instagram feed. So static posts, relatable graphics, reels that teach something valuable, swipeable carousels that speak directly to your target audience. The best goal is to have them share it on their stories, is what I'm hearing. So you put a post out, they share it on their stories, then you have quite a bigger reach. So you're getting in front of fresh eyes. Number 4, you make sure to utilize all Instagram's features. So I didn't know about all the different features. And the more you use, apparently the more Instagram rewards you. So, you know, that's why most people are getting onto Reels, because, you know, TikTok was first and now Reels. And then apparently there's something new here called Rooms, which is kind of like their alternative to Clubhouse. So just make sure to look through all the different features and try and, you know, utilize them in your posts. Create engaging stories. So I never really understood the point of stories. Now I kind of do. It's kind of the behind the scenes. So there's a variety of different apps you can also use to make your stories more inviting and stuff like that. But what I like about stories is that you can track to see who's watching your stories. So, you know, keep track of them, even if it's in a spreadsheet. So those can be like your warm market to reach out to eventually, especially if they're, you know, interacting with you a lot. Then you can use, I think in the Trello board, I have like the rip off the Band-Aid script, and you could send them that one. And it's basically just says like, I see you've been interacting and engaging with my stories or my posts. And I can't remember exactly how it goes, but I think you'd be great at this and what have you. So you could then send that to them. You can get candid with having direct conversations with your audience. You can utilize stickers, quizzes, polls, put music in it. There's lots of different things that you can do with the stories. And I've seen lots of people where they'll do like multiple stories, and it's kind of like, it's telling you a story basically. So some of those are pretty interesting. So also be sure to respond and listen to your audience. So engagement is a two-way street. So if you're just posting it out there, people are engaging with you and you're not engaging back, it's not really going to go anywhere. So they want to, if somebody's commenting or DM or liking something, make sure to just comment back, you know, so it lets your audience know that you're appreciative, excited to engage in the conversation. Obviously, if you receive a mean or irrelevant comment, you can delete it, or you could address it kindly. If your audience is asking for specific questions regarding your content, take note of it. So that might be something that a lot of people are asking, and it could be something that you could use in a further post that would guide people more into, you know, what commonly asked questions you get. This could go, yeah, so similar, you want to know which pieces of content gain the most interaction and engagement. Produce video content. I know not everybody loves to do this, especially if you're new, but you know, with the rise of TikTok, now Instagram Reels, video, and just like Facebook, you know, video is king. It's going to get in front of the most eyes. So if you can start doing some Reels, take a look at any brand with high engagement, and you'll notice that they are using a lot of Reels and video content, and that's a big marketing strategy for them. So again, be sure it follows your niche. It's interesting, it's inspiring, or it's informative. Like if you tend to like food and, you know, you're a foodie, and that's great, and you're posting about it, perfect, that's part of your niche. But for me, I don't really do that. So if I all of a sudden just started posting food, people would be like, what? I don't get it. What are you talking about? Like my stuff is mostly nature, outdoors, kids. So that's sort of my niche, but it's, you know, sometimes you just got to find your niche. Write longer captions. So I didn't really know this. Before, a lot of it was all about one-liners, but they're saying that, you know, right now with those caption spaces, I know there is a limit to how much you can put, but they're saying to use it more like a microblog. And I've followed some people, you know, that are, I can't remember some of the names, but a lot of them, when they post something, they have a lot of stuff written up in that caption space. And so it is broken up into the visual, but also the caption is quite important. So it is powerful, but the caption will encourage your target audience to take further action. And if you have a lot, then the audience has to scroll down to read. So this lets Instagram know that your target audience is spending more time on your actual Instagram post or what have you. So it is a good thing to not just put one-liners, put a little bit more. I mean, like when we post our testimonials, I know there is a certain amount, but I mean, I think it's still great to put as much as you can in there. And if you have an opportunity to put a call to action in it, I think it's a great space to put it. Choose appropriate hashtags. So I don't know a ton about this. I know there's so many different things that you can read up about it. But you really need to pay attention to what hashtags you're using. Specifically go to those hashtags to see where they take the person to, because it might take it to some, I don't know, oil or MLM company or something. So just be aware of that. And then basically, I found a site that you can go on, an app that basically will show you some of the, high, low, medium competition hashtags. I haven't done a whole lot with it, but there's an app called Flick, and it will give you some of the right hashtags for your posts. Yeah, so I think that's it for that one. And then something, at the end of the day, what we want to do is get, the reader to stop the scroll. So it's highly visual. You need your stories, your posts, your reels to be really eye-catching. So in order to stop that, you need to catch them in some way or form. So it could be as simple as putting on bright lipstick. It could be as simple as wearing patterned shirts, a statement earrings, hat. Be aware of your background. Be aware of people in your background. So just take a look at, again, another testing. Take a look at what is gaining likes, is gaining comments, and see what your audience likes. So brightening up your pictures too. So Instagram I love too, because once you post something, they have filters. So you can choose a filter that brightens it up a lot. You can brighten it up beforehand, or you can use, some colorful clothing background. Don't be so wordy in the reel. So this was something, and I actually see this sometimes too, where I see a reel and there's so many words and so much on it that it's hard to actually pay attention to what they're trying to say. There's just so many things going on. So you want to caption the reels. Thanks, Renee. So adding text to reels will allow you to adapt to trends and deliver value and provide inspiration, but being too wordy and covering, maybe we should mute somebody. I don't know who's not on mute.
It's Claudia. Claudia, can you mute yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, so being too wordy, like I'll see where there's like all different captions and it's really hard to follow and it's too much. And that's my personal opinion. Maybe a lot of people like that, but I'm the same way with Facebook ads. If it's just a big jumble of words, it makes me scroll past it. I like everything broken up, and I think it depends on how you are, and what attracts you will likely attract somebody similar to you. So remove anything that's unnecessary, be concise, get to the point, and then make sure to rewatch your reels just to make sure that they look decent. They're at the right tempo to whatever you're doing, so it doesn't, look unprofessional. And don't use a TikTok video on Instagram Reels. I think most of you probably know this, but they don't promote it. So you can post it on there, but they're not going to promote your reel. So just get rid of that TikTok watermark. I think there's some websites like SnapTik to get rid of that watermark, and then you can reuse it. But if you are using it, you're not going to get the same, algorithm for it. So it's better to just remove it. And then optimize your profile. So there's different ways that people talk about optimizing your profile. So make sure if you're going to use a reel, and it's kind of like the YouTube videos, you can do a cover for that reel. and put it on there. Just don't use an unrelated snapshot. Sometimes it comes up with its own auto-generated one. You can put one in there too, so it doesn't look so unprofessional. Make sure your Instagram bio is optimized. Make sure your mission statement, your why is very clear. So, you know, maybe you, like for myself, I was in dental, I was a mom, but I also have about the business. So make sure it leads them to the fact that you're doing this business or you're part of a business. You want them to catch their attention so that they click to your profile. But if your bio and everything's unclear, they're not really going to be certain as to who you are or what you serve. So it's good to really check through your page and see what's there. And lastly is just show up authentically. So yeah, back in the day, I think they talked about like everything was flashy and I mean, there still is nowadays, you know, people are made up and we don't look as real as we should be. But a lot of people want to see the authentic you. So try and be as authentic as possible. If you're not comfortable with that, you could just start slowly by doing stories, because they don't stay on Instagram unless you put them into the file section there, but they'll just come and go throughout the day. So it just, yeah, that people want to see the real you. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to stop sharing. So it wasn't exactly dedicated to in-cruises, but it is if you want to really dive into in-cruises and post more about it. Those are just some tips that I read about that I think can be used for anything related to Instagram. And really, I think follow George because he has a really nice Instagram page. Obviously, he travels a lot, but that doesn't mean like if you're out doing something, take lots of photos and post them here and there. It doesn't need to be, you know, you don't need to be traveling all the time for people to be attracted to your profile. I think Tammy has a question.
Hi, thank you. So there's where you can connect your page, your business page to Instagram. Is that something that you recommend?
I do, yeah. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah, especially if you're running ads
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook.
I'm not yet, but
okay, but just in general, a lot of times it's almost like a little bit more of a sophisticated type, like Netta Ward lives and dies by Instagram. And she feels that it's more of a sophisticated viewer on Instagram. So you're really leaving money on the table if you're running ads just on Facebook and not Instagram as well. Okay. The other thing, and not to step on Trisha's toes, she did an amazing job. But I put a link to a YouTube video from Sunny Lenarduzzi. I follow her very closely on how to do Instagram. Also within that video, there's a couple other suggested videos to watch. Be a real nice icing on the cake for you to all take that link right now and copy and paste it. And Trisha, when you post the video in Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, make sure to include this link. Also, Great Minds Think Alike. Flick is something that I put in there right when Trisha was mentioning it. I've also looked at it. I believe they have a free trial for maybe a week or so. So I'd be grabbing every travel, cruise, vacation, laptop, lifestyle, digital marketing hashtag you can and set them up in their notes. They also have nice little info on, you know, not using more than 30 hashtags and how to get the lower relevance, medium relevance, high relevance, and how to mix that in if you want to be really, really technical with it all. So definitely those two links we should add to our file section wherever the video is posted. Yeah. And yeah, that's all I have, I think.
I'll just add something onto this with regards to content. There's an app called Repost, R-E-P-O-S-T. Mm-hmm. And I've been playing around with a new Instagram account, and I'm not going to show it here because it's still in the makings, but right now I got 14 followers. Woohoo! But what I was testing is I can take a reel from Cunard Cruises or Carnival Cruises that has had tons of engagement, and using the Repost app, repost that reel to my page, to my Instagram page as a reel. 14 followers, I got 6,500 views, likes, and now additional followers. So if you haven't been on a cruise, or you're going on a cruise, you know, next year and you haven't got any content, go to the cruise line websites or go to the influencer Instagram accounts And when you use the repost app, it gives credit to the person that you're reposting of. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I'm stealing something, because you're actually giving them credit. What's on Instagram is public consumption, but you want to make sure that you give them the wherewithal to say, hey, I got this from so-and-so. They like it because it shows engagement. B, it pushes them out further, but it gives you content. So I've put 15 reels on my page, my Instagram page, and they've all gotten, some have gotten lots of engagement, some got nothing. But content like, what's it like to spend a day on a Carnival cruise? What's it like to be at sea? Some are funny. You take the trending reel noise of, somebody saying, this is what my back end looks like, and it's a cruise ship going on, and it got 6,000 views, right? So there's some funny things and there's some serious things, but again, it's about creating content. So if you don't have your own content, borrow it from others using the repost app. And if you need help with that, just go in and Google repost. There's some great resources with regards to it, but just it creates content that you may not have. The last thing I'll share is I have friends in the travel industry that just got off the Noordam. It's a cruise that they were on with Holland America. And I just sent them a quick message and said, take some pictures of the meals, take some pictures of this. And they sent it to me. So I've got some current content from somebody that was on a cruise. So I can take that and turn that into a reel of still photos and put that on my page as well. So it's not like you have to be on the ship yourself. Right? You can also say to some people that are here in Vancouver, hey, take a couple of pictures of the Queen Mary when it's in port and send them to me because I'd like to put them on my Instagram. If they're willing to do it, flip them a nice box of brownies that I send out cards, and maybe they'll do that for you. But there's ways that you can create content from friends, and it just builds content on your Instagram feed. Again, building engagement. That's me.
I love that. Another thing to consider, just like the cruise thing is brilliant. I'm definitely going to check that out. If you can put that link in the chat, Trisha, Matt, please, Trisha will add that as a resource to this video. Like, let's say I want to go out and get myself 6 more Shannon Valentes. Who wouldn't want 6 more Shannon Valentes under there? She gets buyers every day. She has a real Jillian Harris pumpkin spice latte feel about her. Maybe I'm going to go on to Jillian Harris's page. And when I see her sharing neat things, giving her credit, putting it on my Instagram, giving credit is the most important thing, guys. Like Matt's bang on with that, but giving credit to attract the kind of people you want. So cruises is one thing. And I don't know, like, I'd love to hear some of the coaches' input on having your own cruise Instagram, like vacation Instagram, versus just lifestyle of everything, if they should be amalgamated together or not. But like, go on to some of these influencers who you think your people are following, right? We write a Facebook ad and we target Jillian Harris. Why not take her posts on Instagram and give her credit for it? Or go on to, and this is a Sunny Lenarduzzi video that I put in the chat here for you guys to all check out. Go on and comment on something. Somebody goes, oh my gosh, Mary, who we don't know, says, oh my gosh, I love that apple pie that Jillian Harris made. I tried the recipe, it was great. And then why not me comment and say, oh, really? That's so great to hear a real person that can make the pie and thinks it's great too. I checked out your profile. I think you have a great presence. Start that conversation, right? Like, so there's ways to build this that don't cost any money at all, if you're willing to do a little bit of legwork.
I think that's bringing us to the end. It's to the hour at 10 o'clock. Does anybody have anything else to finish up?
Tammy, do you still have a question? Or
I do.
I do, sorry, just really quick. So are you suggesting we use our personal Instagram account that we have and build on that, changing the profile up, or are we doing a business Instagram account?
I would say business. That's what I have attached to a business page. I don't know if it makes much of a difference, Matt. I'm not entirely certain of that.
You get different analytics if you're with a business account.
Okay.
I personally have created a separate Instagram account that's travel related, but my background was in travel. Like I used to be in the travel industry. So everyone's going to be different. So don't feel like, oh, I must do it this way because Trisha said or Matt said. Take a look at what you're using. Go back to what Renee said, because we've got some landers that are for warm market. We've got some landers that are for business market in the travel related space and the travel funnel, if you decide to go down that road.
Right.
So you want to just get it all hanging together and congruent, as opposed to saying, oh, I'll do this on my personal page, I'll do this on a business, and you're going to be all over the place.
Right.
Myself, I decided I'm going to treat InCruises as a separate entity. And so on Instagram, it doesn't touch my business page, but that was the way I wanted to set it up on purpose.
Okay.
Again, not right or wrong. It's just take a look at what your strategy is.
Perfect.
And I was
I
going
have
to
a-
say too, with reels or whatever you're doing, just keep creating content. Because like what Matt said, some, have taken off, some have gotten thousands of views, whatever. Just keep putting stuff out there, because some will take off. And then with sounds and stuff on reels and everything, as they're trending, sometimes songs trend at different times. And there's a little arrow at the bottom left-hand corner on reels. If there's an arrow pointing up, that means that it's a trending sound. If there's a music note, that means it's not a trending sound. So songs at different times, for whatever reason, Instagram decides, okay, this is trending this week, or because lots of people are using it. So you might have an old reel that could take off. So just keep creating content. If something flops, leave it. Don't delete it or anything. Just leave it out there, because it could take off later down the road too.
I have a question for the coaches. I'm interested to know what kind of pushback you're getting on the InCruise business model, if any, and how are you supporting your teams that are actually signed up? Because with the Enagic business, we all know how to support our teams and how, but I'm finding with the training within cruises, it's more mindset training. It isn't actually the nuts and bolts of how to market the business and how to run the business. So I'm a little bit, I don't think I have the full confidence to run with this program yet, because I don't think I know how you're all supporting your teams. Like I've come in with a funnel now, and I know everything is so new that we didn't really know what was going on, but had I think I've got the wrong funnel now, because I bought one for the warm market. So how are teams being supported, and how do you know that your team is running their business properly? Like I can find that quite easily with the Enagic business, but I'm having a problem with this one. So I could do with some insights.
Do you want me to take that?
Yes.
Okay. So I have people on my team that are not in the Dream Team InCruises funnel. I have people that are in the Dream Team InCruises funnel, and I've got people that are in the Enagic. So again, there's different silos with regards to that. If you find that the training was inadequate in cruises, I'd tell you to go back and take a look, because there's a whole section of the resources. I'm not putting that down, Susan. I'm just saying there's a section.
I was wondering if I'm missing it.
Yep,
Am I
yep.
missing all this training?
In the resources that Renee was talking about, there's a whole section just on social media headlines you can use. There's a whole section on the basic training, mindset training, and all of that. But when you start to understand the flair and what the company is all about, and that comes part and parcel with what Renee was saying, is some of the webinars that they have to understand, like, what's it mean to your business when all the ships are in the water for MSC? I didn't know that, but when I go on a webinar, I hear about that or listen to the recordings with regards to that, the importance to our business, right? Because we're digital nomads, right? So when they've got a 2-for-1 special on the Margaritaville ship or whatever the case may be, that's something that I can start to play with in my content. So that's where my promotion comes in, but I've got to think from a sixth sense with regards to what are these people saying that applies to my digital nomad business. So when I've got people that are in cruises only, I really have them focus on that training and really dig deeper into those resources that are there. If I have somebody that's in the Dream Team in cruises funnel, obviously I'm supporting them just with those 2 landers, shy of what Shannon said earlier, and I think they're working on that. But they're running an online business. So we're not promoting InCruises per se, we're promoting an online business. If I have somebody in the Enagic business or the traditional Dream Team business, then they can be promoting Enagic and InCruises and send out cards, because there's nothing, it's agnostic. It doesn't have any relationship to a product that they're promoting. So the support that I'm giving is making sure that my team is in the right area of the training. Right? I made the same mistake that you did, pick the lander that was for the warm market, but it's because I didn't read the training. Like, shame on me. I didn't read it, right? So it's on me. And I was on the webinar or the mastermind that one night when Mike and Darren showed that one. I thought, oh my God, that's the most amazing lander. And I just jumped on it that night.
Exactly.
Well, you've got to watch the training and you've got to
So
read
did I.
the training, right? So I from my support, it's getting people put into the right bucket for their support that they need based on the training that they've signed up for. And I'll leave it at that.
I think like too, it has to do with how do you want to build your business? Do you want to build it online or offline? Right? Like for myself at this point, and I'm fluid in all of my things when it with regard to business and life and whatever, I'm just running it business as usual. The only difference that I see between an Enagic distributor and an InCruise partner member is a monetary value to start the business. Like with everybody who I'm advertising to down in the Caribbean, as an example, I'm selling them one machine and InCruises. So I don't have any just InCruise people under me. So to me, in my mind, if I was to build this offline and I were to, do the traditional, say the dirty word MLM way of thing where I'm reaching out to friends and family and all of that kind of stuff, then I would be digging more into that training, though the mindset training for InCruise is valuable for any kind of business you're in. Like this guy used to work for Tony Robbins. Like I talk about law of attraction all the time. You want a free law of attraction course? Dig into the InCruise training, free law of attraction course. It's bang on. But for me, it's business as usual. The only difference now is before I could only serve and partner with people from a certain financial demographic. So the door was open this wide. With InCruise, the door is open this wide. But for me, it's business as usual right now. I'm not promoting InCruises. Go look at my social media. I'm not promoting Enagic. I talk about digital business stuff once in a while and how easy it is to work online. But right now, I'm just kind of trying that path. So it doesn't have to be anything different unless you want it to be. And if you want it to be, and you want to take this offline, you're going to build this business 5 times faster. But it's not a necessity. It can be business as usual.
And actually adding to the point that Sarah just made, the minute you put the word InCruises on your site, you have to deal with compliance at InCruises. There's a whole bunch of rules around it. So Chris and Karen did an ad for InCruises, sent it off to InCruises, and it flunked, right? Because they were using the InCruises brand. There were certain things that you have to do with your ad with regards to that. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but rather to say, stay as far away from the brand, keep it, just like Sarah says, it's business as usual. Nothing's changed for me. Because she doesn't have to worry about that side of the compliance. Of course, there's still words you're not allowed to use in your posts and stuff, and that's all part of compliance. But you're not getting into the InCruises compliance, the branding compliance, and all of that. You're a digital entrepreneur. At the end of the day, that's what we sell.
Yeah, don't get caught up on whether or not you like cruises. Don't get caught up on all of those things. The biggest thing that if you only take away one thing from the things that I've said today, take away this. Before, our business was, if you look at this as being a worldwide business, which we are now, before the business, the door was open this much because you have the, countries that are first world countries that, everyone makes their standard 50,000 US a year or whatever it is. Now with InCruises, we are able to serve so many more people. And what I love about it is a lot of these people are way hungrier, way less pretentious. They get it. Like, oh my God, I cannot wait to go down to these Caribbean countries and like break bread with all these really, really cool people. And so we've just opened the door wider to everybody. That's the bottom line is now we can serve more people. Now we can help more families. Now we can build wealth in every country in the world, not just in the stuck up Canada, US, UK, where people make a lot of money and don't really even understand that they make a lot of money. And so that's the really cool thing. So for me, it's business as usual. I'm not changing nothing except for where I'm advertising.
I'm exactly the same way, Susan. My ultimate goal is to get everybody into Enagic. So I do have a couple people who have come in just with InCruises, and it was simply for the fact that they couldn't afford Enagic.
Yeah.
And my ultimate goal is to get them into Enagic. So, I mean, they have the training portion of our in our training. And then, you know, so I tell them to go through that. And then I tell them to go through all of the in-cruise stuff, because ultimately that's all they really need to get started. There's not much more we can give them, in my opinion, because they're given so much. And then they're seeing everything about Enagic in the Facebook group and in my group. And so ultimately that's the biggest goal for us, I think.
So with the training that they're going to get, if they come through an in-cruise funnel, are they going to get Facebook are they going to get taught on how to actually place their Facebook ads and YouTube ads with just in-cruises?
Not YouTube, not YouTube.
Not YouTube,
No.
just Facebook, yeah.
Just Facebook. So that is another reason why it is enticing them to try and get into Enagic, so that they can get those other platform training. Yeah.
And are any of you getting any negativity with the fact that they can only use half their reward points up to 2 years? Because you're not really getting the 2-for-1 when you can only use half of the reward points.
Once you're membership free as a partner member, I think you can use them all. So all you need,
and that's great for people that have a big downline though, but for the ones that don't.
It's 5 people, Susan.
Yeah, I know.
5 people is not a big
you'd be
downline.
surprised how many people don't have 5 people though.
Actually, Susan, it's to be a marketing director, you get 100%, which is 30 people.
Yeah.
If that takes you a year or 2 years, who cares? Right? I mean, I'm getting close to my 30. It's not a big downline that I'm building this with. I'm building it offline. So you don't need to have a downline to become a marketing director, international director, et cetera. Look at it from, as we talked about, high level. What do you want to build? It's not building on your downline. It's building how you wish to build. So 30, I mean, my goal is 30 so I can travel at 100%. So I'm not getting pushback from people because my goal is to get them their 5 free and get them their 30. Let's go together and let's build this. So there's no question about whether it takes them a year, 2 years, 3, but at some point they'll get 100% of the reward points.
At some point, yeah.
So I look at it long-term, not in the next 2 months. If you want to cruise, it's 50%. Oh, sorry. Look at it bigger.
Yeah. And it's a team effort, right? At that point when you need the 30. So it might seem daunting at first, but you know, you could get somebody who gets a lot.
And Susan, what I would plant a seed for to you personally, to myself at times with the Enagic business, and to anybody who's listening to this, is a lot of times what's going on internally for you, you'll be attracting. So maybe you have a couple of hangups that you need to get over, and just by clearing that out, and hopefully this conversation is moving you in that direction.
I don't think it's hangups. I think it's a financial, like, I mean, it's kind of like when you buy a timeshare. Like, I have some timeshares, but although timeshares are great, there is some downfall. There's a lot of downfalls to timeshares, right? Because you're really tying your funds up. And for somebody coming into this, I think you have to be prepared for these questions. Like, when people think deeply about what they're actually investing in and how they're spending their money, it's not all roses. There are some drawbacks, and I think people need to be ready for those types of questions. I mean, not everybody coming into this will be, and I'm sounding like a negative Nelly. I'm not. I mean, I'm on board with this. I love it, even though I'm not a cruise person, but I love it. But there are drawbacks. And then when you come into something like this, you're going to tie your money up with the travel company for 2 years if you're not going to run the business and get your 30 people. So you've got your money. It's kind of like when you buy a timeshare, you tie your money up with one company, and you can't take advantage of other travel things that come up at the time. So it's not a hang up. It's just being prepared for certain questions.
Susan, can I say something? When you go in, like when I shared about staying plugged in, and I think if you looked at the resources that InCruises has and the weekly meetings and everything, you're going to feel more comfortable too. And I think, you know, the other people are right, like Sarah and Matt and everybody is, we have to feel comfortable inside. So I think if everybody's aware of the different resources available to us, we can grow from that and feel more comfortable too.
Hi, it's Nikki. I just wanted to add, and I'm going to find it and I'm going to post it on the Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, maybe in the comments when you guys post this video. There is a video with Michael Hutchinson, and the reason I have to post the link is I can't remember exactly which video it is. Maybe someone else knows, but he goes through an intro to the program, and in that, Susan, he actually breaks down everything, including how they make their money. But then he says you can use your reward points for up to 50% of the price. And he breaks down an example with actual cruise pricing, why it's the same on other sites, why applying half your points is a benefit. And then he talks about how that increases with each cruise that you do, because when you apply those points and you pay your money, you're still getting 1-to-1. So even if you wanted to be 100% in a year, but you weren't, he's still able to break down really well why only using half your reward points actually works to your advantage. So I think you would find that just an amazing one to use for yourself as well as to share. So I'm going to find it, because for me, it really lit up and made all of that make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a great little short, like it's maybe 6 minutes or 9 minutes. It's very short and it's very good. It might even be the membership one, but once I figure out which one it is, I'll send you, I'll put the link up for you.
I do remember seeing that one too somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Like,
it is
it's
good.
just,
Yeah. Nikisha, do you have a question too now?
Just before we move on to the next person, Nikki, can you please send Trisha that link? Because when she posts this video, I want all of the available links have been talked about, easily accessible to people watching the replay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi, so I had a question on the funnel. What I wanted to understand, and maybe I missed it, or you could just clear it up for me. In terms of if, as I mentioned earlier, first persons I'll be contacting concerning in cruises would be my family, close friends, persons like that, right? Within my sphere of influence. So I will contact them. I'm going to have my meeting, talk to them, share a link with them where they can look at the video, and of course, then invite them to join, whether they're interested in joining as a member or becoming a partner member. Now, persons who do take the offer and want to become partner members, when they do join and go through that process, will they have access to getting a funnel created for them to start their business, or will they be doing it basically offline? Is it that they'll be doing it offline because they didn't come to the Enagic side?
So if you are just going after your warm market, your sphere of influence within cruises, and you get Uncle Bob to sign up, and you want to introduce Uncle Bob to the dream team, and maybe Matt or Trisha could speak to this. I don't have any, or Agnes specifically could speak to this because I don't have an in-cruises funnel at this time. There will be somewhere where you can get the buy now link for just in-cruises. You would give that to them as well. So they would have the $3.99 charge to join in-cruises as a partner member so that they can create wealth, build business, build their own team. But then there'll also be a separate link of $100. Interrupt me if I'm wrong, guys, here, because I'm not saying I know everything. Where then they would be introduced as your in-cruises buyer and added to the dream team, where they could get just the Facebook only and Instagram training, and they would be an in-cruise partner member, which is would be like the same as an Enagic distributor, but no Enagic business. Now, once they get to their 30 and they're making $600 a month, kind of like we talked about in the coaching call, that's a great time to introduce them to a machine for Enagic. And then they get all of the training. And at that time, they might have to have a little bit of an upcharge to get that other funnel. I don't know exactly what that looks like once someone upgrades, but definitely you get them into in-cruises, and then we will get you that link. Maybe Trisha can send it to you for the $99 to do afterwards. And it can be done first as well if you're not going to have just an in-cruises funnel, which I don't think you really should. Or you just give them your main funnel for both businesses and get them to register so that they're your buyer, and then you can give them the in-cruise link and they can have access to both businesses. So it's however you want to run it. But the extra charge is to get them in the dream team and to get them access to our systems.
Okay,
Because
so
they're very expensive, right? Like that, you guys understand why there's that extra charge, right? Like the webinars that are put on and all that, and all the back end stuff, it costs a lot of money. So basically what the dream team has done is said, we're not going to profit off people using our system, but we are going to make sure that we're not losing money by offering it.
I just posted that,
Trisha
yes.
Trisha just put it in there, so.
Yeah, it's in our Trello board too. Yeah, so it's basically when they're ready to go ahead, there's the setup next steps, and they would just go ahead and pay for it, and it would be connected to you in the back end, I believe.
okay, so when I talk to them about the cruises, I'm going to have to mention this $100, which will allow them the funnel to be created for the cruises. Okay, good.
It's actually, that gives them access to the dream team. They'll pay $25 for each funnel.
Yes.
Oh,
Like
And if they want to upgrade to a Magic, they'll pay $25 for the coaching call. So
Yeah.
think of it as 100, 125, 150, which is what the 149 is.
Okay.
And what I would do when I'm marketing this to friends and family is I'd say, look, this business is amazing and you can build wealth. And here's the commission structures and the videos on in-cruise and, going through the slides or whatever. Then like, if you don't want to bug friends and family for just $125, you can do this all through paid advertising and never have to, reach out to Uncle Bob. Although why wouldn't you? You're going to build it faster if you utilize your warm market, but you don't have to be successful.
Okay.
On camera.
Are we?
Jenny, do you have a question?
I just actually wanted to add to Susan's question earlier. If I remember right, and the coaches can correct me with this one, Darren mentioned in one of the chats about in cruises that yes, those ones who are not membership free yet, you will pay 50% of, or you will be able to use 50% of your rewards towards your cruises. However, and again, this is how I understood it. Whatever you pay towards that cruise, for example, it's $1,600 cruise, and then you use $800 of your rewards towards that cruise, and then you pay $800 out of pocket. You will actually be given by in-cruises one-to-one rewards. So whatever out of pocket you give, for example, $800, they in-cruises will actually give you 800 rewards points out of that $800 out of pocket. So really, yes, you're not yes, you're not able to enjoy that 100% rewards, right?
So whatever cash top up you use, they replace with reward points.
Yes, and then that way you'll be able to actually use those rewards for future cruises or for future hotels and resort stays, right? So really, it's a win-win. Like there's no loss on your part. It encourages people to really travel more and have that budget or rewards in your pocket, right? Like as travel savings, as everybody would say, right? So I don't see any, that's why they say it's a no-brainer, right? Like I'm not membership free yet, but I am working towards that. And I'm using, I'm going to be going to Vancouver or planning on traveling. And just because I know that whatever money that I pay out will be returned to me in terms of rewards, right? So again, coaches, correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
You're good.
I think you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
And it's a great thing. Like, honestly, if you can stay plugged in and go in the training for in-cruises, Facebook, through, the masterminds, you're going to find a lot more answers that you're all sharing today. Does anybody have any other questions?
That's just awesome information. Just wonderful.
So Matt, did you go ahead and change your funnel to the other one, or are you having two funnels, or?
So I'm using it to test, right?
Okay.
People that know me know that all I do is TEST everything. And I leave it at that. I'm not changing it because my system is working where all of my leads are going over to my Enagic business. And then when I have the coaching call, I decide kind of where to place them based on what works for me. So it's a nice funnel. It's got my shirt the same color as the ship. It's all good. Life is good. So I'm not too worried about the funnel.
Is it time to wrap up? I guess we're almost at
We're
the
at 90 minutes.
10:30 mark.
I don't see any more hands. Do you see any more hands?
I don't think so. No.
Great
Awesome.
job, Renee. Great job,
Yes.
Tricia.
Yes.
And
guys.
Shannon and Agnes, well done with regards to this. Thanks for giving us lots of content and feedback and insights on in cruises. You guys are rock stars at the best of times. Everyone have a great Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us. And we've got, the whole agenda set up for next month in Teamwork Makes the Dream Work with regards to when the next webinars are going to take place. Zoom calls, we've broken down the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. Sarah's got her event coming up. I think it's this coming week, or I'm sorry, the following week. So just take a look in the events in Teamwork Makes the Dream Work. And we look forward to seeing you all on the next call. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.